Welcome back to my channel. I have these two men in Cardone Ventures polos right behind me because when you're planning a wedding, you also don't get to stop doing the other things that are important in your life, like working and building a business and kicking ass and taking names.
All true.
All of these things still have to go on. So I'm gonna kick them out. Unless you guys want, unless you guys want to say anything. Is there anything you want to tell the people on my channel about today's topic, which is how to communicate with your wedding planners? Any good tips?
No.
Nope.
We're gonna go communicate.
Okay, bye. It's technically our office, but this is my office because Brandon isn't much of an office person here in Miami, Florida. And as I just said, there's stuff outside of the wedding that still has to happen. But today, I want to talk to you about how to communicate with your wedding planner. By no means am I an expert at communicating in the wedding space. However, for a living, I teach business owners how to communicate with their teams to get what they want. Those skills equally apply to how you communicate with anybody that's important to creating some sort of result in your life, whether that's your wedding planner, whether that's your significant other. I want to share some of the things that I have learned through the wedding planning communication process, but also just ways to get what you want in life more easily. Let's get started. This is gonna be short and sweet because I gotta get back to work. I'm all about the practical things. I'm gonna take you all the way through this planning process until the day of the wedding, and I'll do this vlog thing then, which I think will be a lot of fun. But today's is how you communicate with your wedding planner. So first, most of my meetings have been virtual, and I'm also planning a destination wedding. Before that meeting, before that call, decide what you want. I think that there are two options when deciding what you want. You are either going to be the detail-oriented bride. The second option, you're gonna go with the flow. You might see a couple options, oh, I'm gonna pick this or whatever you think is best, but you knowing which type of bend you have in conversations really helps other people in your life, especially your wedding planner, have clarity about how to communicate with you. If you're gonna be detail oriented, then every single meeting you're gonna show up with the same questions and wanting to know the same information, and they can prep for that. But if some days you're detailed and other days you go with the flow, it confuses people. Well, she's really happy today because you were in go with the flow mode. And then the next day, oh, well, she really wants to know all these details and I didn't see that coming. I didn't prep for that. I just thought that she was gonna trust us. If you wanna make all the decisions, what you shouldn't be saying to your wedding planner is, I trust you, whatever you want. You know what you want, so you make the decision. But decide who you are ahead of time and what kind of process you want to go through with your wedding planners so that they know how to prep for meetings, because the last thing that anyone wants to do is waste their time. That's number one. Number two, regardless of if you're detailed or go with the flow, using pictures is so helpful. I just had a call with our wedding planners. It was the presentation of what the day of will look like for the table settings. In them sharing with me what it's gonna look like, I loved 90% of it, but there was something that I just couldn't put my finger on. It's like, I don't love it. When I see it, I'm not like, oh my God, it's perfect. Like there was something, it was a small thing, but it was just off. When you know something is off, instead of you being confused of like, well, is it off or me? What do you think? That might be okay. They're a professional, so ask for their opinion. But if you can provide a photo of what you do like, because you saying I want a white modern wedding means something very different to you than it does to your wedding planners. So the more granular you can get with the pictures, it's still great to have overarching just imagery, but you might not get down to that detail level. I do think it is the best thing for everyone to create as much clarity as possible so that you don't show up the day of and be unhappy. Third, before asking a question of your wedding planner, ask yourself this question: does this really matter? Does this really matter? Does this really matter? I was about to ask a question about the linen on a table, and then before I even let that question leave my mouth, I asked myself, does this really matter? And I realized, no, it doesn't. So if it doesn't really matter to you and you don't think it's something in the big picture that's going to be important for you to have done or had clarity around, I would just not waste your time. You're just going to be adding time and adding confusion to the process. If it really matters, then go all in, commit. Yes, it really matters. I want to make sure that this linen doesn't have this little detail, so let's figure out the next one, and then you're off to the races. They can then push back, say, oh, we only have these 2 options. Well, then the more information you have, the better you will feel. Then you get to ask yourself again, does this really matter? If it really matters, go for the more expensive one, for the one that you really like. If it doesn't really matter, go with the original choice. But it's all about the process for getting the information that you are looking to get. So with that, I am enjoying these vlogs so much. I know you are too, because you've gone through the process of subscribing. But if you haven't, for whatever reason, you're following this whole journey, you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications. I want to stay in communication with you. I want to know your feedback. And I'm interested to hear, which bride are you, or were you? Were you go with the flow, or were you more detail oriented and wanted to be all up in every single detail? Let me know in the comments, and I can hardly wait to see you tomorrow.